I'm calling this meeting of the Town Council of Silver City to order. Would you please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first item on the agenda is public input. I would like to announce that we will be handling public input a little differently today than we have in the past. Previously, public input was at the very beginning of the meeting, before there was any business conducted. Now, we have two ways of providing public input. If you want to speak on just a general topic, then that will come at the beginning of the meeting. But if you'd like to make comments on a particular item of business that we'll be addressing, then I will wait until we get to that particular agenda item, and then I'll ask for public comments. And at that point, you can come up and make your comments. Okay? We're still going by the city ordinance of limit of 5 minutes, and I'll try to remind you when you get close to 5 minutes. I see that we have 5 people that have signed up for public input. I can't read the first name, but Mr. Lopez with the Soccer League. Would you come up and identify yourself and turn the microphone on by pushing the little white button at the base?
I asked you another commissioner speakers about the same. I'd like to follow up.
Oh, so he's presenting for y'all?
No, but if he could take my position first, and then I'll follow up.
Okay, I'll call on him first. Mr. Beck, come on out.
So I'm the regional commissioner for AYSO Soccer. AYSO Soccer is a all-volunteer organization that has about 425 4 to 14-year-old soccer players. And in the past, the reason we're here tonight is in the past, the fields out at Scott Park were reserved for us during game day, which has continued, which we very much appreciate. And no reservations of the field were allowed for practices. And that's been the same for baseball or football or soccer. And that's worked fine. It's been first come, first serve, and we didn't have any problems with that arrangement. This last year, they allowed Western University to reserve the fields during prime practice time for these young kids. And they took up 2 of the 3 functioning fields. And that left 200 to 300 kids trying to practice on one of those smaller fields. And we've spoken with Peter Pena about that, and he couldn't really give us a good answer as to why Western was allowed to reserve the fields for practice and we were not. We don't necessarily want to be able to reserve the fields. We just think it should go back to how it has been every other year, where if it's not a scheduled game, the fields should be first come, first serve, and allow the kids to get out there and practice. If the university has to reserve it, we would prefer that they do so either while the kids are in school or later in the evening, because it's hard for these young kids to have late practices, and they obviously can't practice during school. So we would request that Western be treated as the other sports organizations are, and not be allowed to reserve the fields, or at least not allowed to reserve them during that prime practice time for these kids, so the kids have a safe place to practice and enough space to be able to do so. And that's all I have. Any questions that I can answer?
You know, what I recommend very strongly is I know I've talked to Mr. Brown about this already, and he's actually anxious to meet with you to talk about how that's run out there. And I think he can answer a lot of the questions you were thinking about tonight.
Great.
So, will you set up an appointment with Mr. Brown? And
Yes, I will.
And I know you, so I can give you his phone number later on.
Perfect.
His office phone number, anyway.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lopez?
Good evening. Just to reiterate, and I thank you for hearing the comments from our commissioner. We had a good season this last year. Mr. Beck and the board ran a fantastic season and left our community with everything we need for a better season next year. I've been coaching soccer since that field there was just dirt and tumbleweeds, and we were playing up at Ben Altamirano. We didn't have any other soccer fields, and we were pretty much fighting for space all around town, and Foxfield and things like that. So when we had the new field built, it was like a dream come true for all of our children. And so now we're just kind of waiting off to the side. This last season, I didn't want my kids to get smashed by those big guys, big football players, so we kind of waited. And then we, would cut into like half hour, 45 minutes of our practice. So Scott Park is pretty much the only place we have for the kids to play soccer. Our season's over, and we'll be looking forward to next year, and I'm looking forward to Mr. Brown and our commissioner working something out with that in that particular instance. So just to share my experience with you, that's the only field we have for those 300-400 kids in soccer. And it's not that we don't want Western up there. I know it's pretty heavy on the fields. It's a new field, so we would like to try to preserve it as much as possible. And in soccer, we do need full fields for scrimmaging, and we have kids all the way from 5 years old to junior high school. And it's nice during the week to get full scrimmages going on, and not to have coaches trying to fight for fields. So it would open up that whole, I guess, eastern side of the field if we could use that. And then another thing that happened this last year, I'm sure you're aware of it, there's a liability issue. There was somebody who fell off of one of the filming towers, practice filming towers this last season, and so just that's consideration too. But other than that, thank you so much.
Thank you. Chris, and I can't read the last name.
Council members, I appreciate the opportunity to put my input into the situation at AYSO. And I'd just like to say, as a healthcare provider here in Silver City for the past 14 years, I think the AYSO soccer season and the opportunity for these kids is it's a reward for them, and it's something that they really appreciate immensely. And as city council members and as community members of this town of Silver City, I think it's really important that we consider the health benefits that soccer provides for these kids and provide them an opportunity to practice and play in a safe environment. Unfortunately, because of the size of the fields and the number of kids that we had, we didn't always provide that opportunity for a safe environment. But soccer in itself, I can't go on to the numerous effects, positive health effects that it has on our kids. Now, our kids are going to be community members in the future. They're going to be minors. They're going to be doctors. They're going to be they're going to be sitting where you are today. I think if we can boost their health when they're young and getting them out into a safe environment to play soccer and to play any sport at that fact, and to have the room to do that safely is very important. So I do appreciate your consideration. I appreciate Mr. Brown's consideration in working with our commissioner. And I just really want you to think about the health effects that all sports actually promote and the rewards the kids get from playing sports in these leagues. So many kids these days, they're in front of video games, they're watching TV, they're sitting in a chair, doing their homework for hours on end. They need this type of outlet, but we do need to provide a safe environment for that. And it's great to have Scott Park, and hopefully it'll work out for both the college and us to promote health in both the college system and our community as well. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Can we have people identify themselves, please?
Yes. Would you come back, please state your name?
Yeah, my name is Chris Mann. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the public input are two people who wish to speak to the agenda item 10A, but that agenda item is going to be removed from the agenda in a little while and put on hold. So I would invite you to come up now during the public input period. And first on the list was Carolyn White.
Good evening. I'm also, because I have time in the 5 minutes to speak, on behalf of another fellow short-term rental owner. Her name is Azima, and I'll be reading something of hers because she didn't have time to sign up. So I come here this evening truly at a loss as to why, after 8 years of restoring our home in Silver City, I am in a position to stand against some licensing and regulation simply because we chose to offer our home as a furnished rental that we advertise on a vacation home website. At a glance, Counselor Eamon Smith eyes us as a business as she defines our rental as an alternative to a hotel stay, and therefore must be subject to lodger's tax. But in fact, a closer look would reveal that an entirely different need is being served within our community that goes beyond the realm of tourism. Some of these areas would include housing for interns for Freeport-McMoRan, housing for seasonal Forest Service employees, housing for the myriad of traveling staff for our hospital, as well as long-term lodging for snowbirders and/or seniors exploring our area for recreation or retirement. These are just some examples of visitors that are reoccurring annually that reflect our town's need for shorter-term options. As homeowners and rental owners, we take offense to the implication that we simply profit from this venture, when in fact the very nature of what we are providing holds us to a standard that demands a great deal of work, money, and time. And that through this very process, the properties are being renewed and maintained at a level which otherwise may not be possible. Our history is being preserved through the rehabilitation of older homes and buildings, and overall improvement is occurring in our neighborhoods. To impose taxation, permits, and regulation on a small group of homeowners that are so clearly contributing to the prosperity of our unique city with its equally unique needs would only serve to suppress and discourage a rental market that has come to enhance and benefit our town, not burden it. This would be a step backwards for Silver City, not only in terms of overall vitality, but in terms of the faith and the trust that people such as ourselves have placed in our leadership and representatives, as the reasons given for this proposal are completely unfounded. Now I will read Azima's comments. My name is Azima Anderson. I operate a short-term rental out of my house on Onyx Drive. It is listed on Airbnb, TripAdvisor, and VRBO. I reviewed the proposed ordinance and believe short-term rentals are being subjected to an unnecessary amount of paperwork and fees for a problem that doesn't exist. Our rental income is largely determined by the reviews we get on the websites listed above. If we violated any of the proposed provisions, we would more than likely get bad reviews. For example, if parking were not easily available, this would be a problem. If guests were too noisy, I would write a bad review of them, and they would not return. I see my work as self-regulating through the review process, and do not understand the necessity of the town getting involved in its conduct. I am curious what problems precipitated the initiation of this ordinance. I see the short-term rental owners making a positive contribution to our local area. We serve as informal tour guides, recommending things to do, places to eat and shop. I love the inclusivity of Silver City. Everyone dancing together at the Blues Festival epitomizes what I cherish about living here. This proposed ordinance appears to pit hotel owners against short-term rental owners. This competition is unnecessary. During events like the tour...
I'm sorry, but can you begin to wrap it up, please?
Yes, I'm on the last two sentences. This competition is unnecessary. During events like the Tour of the Gila, the town needs all the beds it can make available. Until I can be convinced that short-term rental owners are posing any legitimate problem to our town, I am against the passage of this ordinance. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the list is Josh White.
Good evening. I wanted to address the remarks made by Councilor Amon Smith last month regarding short-term rentals in Silver City. First, I would like to inform the council that there are less than 40 such rentals offered inside the city limits on Airbnb and VRBO combined. This number includes 7 that are operated in just one building by the Anglican Church. You will recall that Councilor Amon Smith said that there are 100 such rentals last month. Councilor Amon Smith also characterized the renters who find lodging through these sites as people who, and I quote, rent a home for a few days or a week. This is again an inaccurate picture. The 2 units that we offer are occupied for more than half the year by tenants that stay for 30 days or more. And speaking to other owners, I've learned that their experiences are similar. I also take offense to the councilor's statement that, and I quote again, property owners like making a little extra cash. This implies that I am only filling this need in our community to line my pockets, and it ignores the fact that all of our rental income is reinvested in our properties, beautifying our homes and, as a result, Silver City. Councilor Amon Smith chose to frame rental owners such as myself as takers who are profiting from advertising that they didn't contribute to, just like local restaurants and shops and gas stations and every other service and retail provider in town, I would point out. In doing so, she failed to acknowledge any of the many benefits that the town derives from the service that we provide. So, why did Councilor Amon Smith paint such an unflattering and inaccurate picture? It isn't because of the glaring need for oversight and regulation. There isn't any such need. I've concluded that it is because of the personal financial gain that she can realize as an investor in the Murray Hotel. And I would ask Councilor Amon Smith, my district representative, to recuse herself from any further activity touching on the regulation of short-term rental owners.
Next on the agenda is Council comments? How long of a break do you want? Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, move for a very short break of 5 minutes.
5 minutes. All in favor? Second, please.
Mr. Mayor, I second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The Rock, they have the old James, and they have new. Yeah, that's the Rock. So what do they need to get stuff for? That doesn't make any sense to me. Enough for taking over, man. So, there's one Spanish person, and she's not even from here. She's from Denny, I know her. And then, for the thing that they're going to show, they have to choose the field with muertos. They have to choose the ruins. This one. Is it just a green wheel? You know what I mean? It bugs me. It bugs me.
Yeah, he said he's going to speak.
In there, they have...
Need to translate that stuff.
I didn't want to publicly tell him that. That's why we took a little break.
Well, I think sometimes it's okay to tell Raul to make it short. But he's usually really good if you give him parameters. I mean, you know, he's spoken at lots of things that I've gone to, and he's pretty time conscious. So.
Everybody ready? Councilor Kano? I call our meeting back to order. The next item on the agenda is council comments. Councilman Amon Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to take just a few minutes here to remind everyone what an ordinance is. So an ordinance is a law that is passed only by the town council for the town of Silver City. And our authority rests only with what goes on in the town. We don't pass laws that affect people in the county or other counties. We only pass laws that affect what goes on inside of our town. And all ordinances have 5 steps. They begin with an idea about something that might need to be done. There's a notice of intent that's published that says we're going to probably do something. There's a period that's given then for editing, changing, research, public comment. and then there's a notice of meeting that says we're going to meet and take a final vote, and then there's that meeting to do that. And this process usually takes about a month, but it can sometimes take a great deal longer if there's a lot of work to be done. So I'm going to remind you of some ordinances that we've worked on in the past. And one of the things I want to say is that as a policymaker, as a legislature, it's my responsibility to not just respond to something that is perhaps generated by any kind of a citizen complaint. So it's not that we're responding to things that are broken as counselors, but rather we're looking at how things are now and how things might evolve. So a couple of years ago, we passed an ordinance, in fact my colleague here sponsored it, having to do with thin film plastic bags. And there was a lot of controversy about that. But that wasn't really in response necessarily to a group of citizens griping. It was in response to needs to really monitor our landfill. It was potential EPA and other kinds of fines. And it was a concern about the aesthetics of our town when you would go up on Boston Hill and see all of those plastic bags flapping in the breeze. So we did do that ordinance, and then we had a report that with a great deal of data about the positive effects of that later on. The positive effects still accrue in terms of managing our landfill, making sure to avoid fines, and still having a beautiful environment. So I just want to say that when you look at an ordinance that has perhaps been published, and they're all available on the website, and if you have difficulty, you may contact our master clerk, Ms. Ann Mackey, and say, please send me a copy of that ordinance, that notice of intent. Please read it and make sure that the things that you think are in it are the things that are actually in it. Because sometimes word gets confabulated that an ordinance might do something, and it might really have nothing to do with what the public word is. So I just wanted to remind everyone of the process, the 5-step process of how an ordinance is created in Silver City. Thank you.
Councilor Weston?
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. So actually for me, I just, the last council meeting in November, the first and only one that there was in November, I announced at the end that I was going to run for re-election. But it didn't quite get out that I was running for re-election, so I wanted to state again, I am running for re-election. It would be my 5th 2-year term, and I hope that I will be able to continue to serve the folks of District 1 and the town residents. So we'll see what happens when it shakes out. As for just some other things, I want to really congratulate everyone on the committee for the Tamal Fiesta y Mas. It was quite a wonderful turnout, and I know our own Councilor Cano and her mother were really quite active in that, and I thought it was well done this year. It was really quite crowded given the type of the weather that was out there, and I didn't get to enjoy it as much as everyone else, so I'm looking forward to hopefully in the future enjoying it again. And then I also attended Victorian Christmas, which was really quite wonderful down at the Silver City Museum, and I have to say it was pretty hopping, and there were lots of kids there, and they had all sorts of wonderful activities. And if you missed it, it'll come around again next year. So we've had some great festivals and things that have occurred in town, and I just would encourage everyone to continue to partake in those. And if you feel that you want to assist, you should certainly contact the folks that are running them, and even our own council members that are really active in doing them. So I just want to say happy holidays, happy New Year, because we won't see you until the New Year. So thank you.
Councilor Cano?
Thank you, Mayor. Where should I start? I guess I'll start with Tamal Festival. I was planning to talk about that, but I'm just going to add something in that was not mentioned. I believe he audience here somewhere. The Mall Festival wouldn't have happened without 3 individuals, and that's Adrian Booth, Susie McAndrew from the Green Chamber, and our county assessor, Raul Perieta. So I would just like to tell you thank you, because I know the 3 of you worked harder than anybody else on that committee from sunup to sundown for quite some time to get it done, and it's appreciated by the whole town. So thank you very much. The other thing I had was, I would like to just comment a little bit about the soccer situation. I, too, will be anxious to see what can be done about it. My concern is that, Western has 3 football fields to practice on. So it seems like it's really important that we do something for the youth of the town. So I'll be looking forward to hearing what happens with that meeting. And I think that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Wright?
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I attended a meeting for the school board, Silver City School Board, here last weekend at Harrison Smith. And it was very interesting, and they had some good points. But I want to tell the people, the property owners, vote it down. Please vote it down, because we just got hit from the state, the property owners, that they're going to give money to the schools, and now they want us to do the same thing here in Silver. If the superintendents and the teachers and the students would all go to Santa Fe and demand that they give money to the schools, to support the schools, to have fixtures, rather than having it on the property owners. And I understand that buildings need to be fixed. They need to be fixed, just like anybody else's house and all that. But why put the burden on the elderly people and the property owners? Mr. Brown, I've been asked, is the metal railing going to be on El Grito Head Start again, or it's going to be off?
It's going to be, I believe, right? The metal railing at El Grito. On the sidewalk, next to the sidewalk.
There's not a railing, like a handrail?
What? Is that a handrail or the...
No, the great big thing that was, the guard.
Oh, guardrail.
The guardrail.
No.
It's not going to be
No.
on again? Okay. I also mentioned at the last meeting that I was not going to run. I've been asked many times, since it came out, I am going to run. And hopefully I can do it again. I enjoy it. And with that, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and have a bottle of Members Red. Thank you.
Does the council have any more comments?
No, sir.
I just want to make one comment on the Tomorrow Fest was a great success. Last weekend was also busy downtown, and throughout the whole month, which is kind of a wintry time of the year, downtown has been really active, and that spills over into the rest of the community. And I want to thank all of you and all of those who volunteer in the community. We have all kinds of activities going on, beautification activities, and a number of other things. I want to thank all of you for the hundreds and even probably thousands of hours that our volunteers do to contribute to the well-being and the health and the quality of life in Silver City. So thank you again. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is changes to the agenda. Does the council want to make any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Mayor.
Council Amon Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I would request to withdraw item number 10A under unfinished business, which would be the approval, disapproval of ordinance number 1253, which is an ordinance that amends generally Chapter 10, registration, and various aspects of business licensing and registration that apply to all the businesses within Silver City with no special identification of any one. The reason that I am asking to withdraw it until a later date is because we had the holidays, I took some vacation time, and I just don't feel like I've had an opportunity to fully review with staff various components of it, nor to engage enough with the small business people in town. So I would like to withdraw that from this evening's meeting.
Is that a motion?
I think I just have to request to withdraw. Okay, then I'm going to move to withdraw item number 10A, approval, disapproval of ordinance 1253.
Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, I second the motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The agenda item is moved from this agenda. Councilor Bedison?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we remove or withdraw item 11A, approval/disapproval of resolution number 2016-34 to declare a parcel of real property known as the Old Hillcrest Hospital site to be not essential to the town and to set terms and conditions for the sale, lease, or donation of said property for commercial development. Mr. Scarabon, could you please elaborate?
The next agenda item covers this subject matter. The resolution, upon further legal research, is unnecessary, superfluous to the next agenda item, so removing it from the agenda is appropriate.
Do we have a second?
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I second the motion.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yes, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the November 9th, 2016 regular meeting. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Smith?
I move to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting of November 9th, 2016.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes?
I second the motion stated.
Okay. Do we have any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is reports. The first report will be rendition reporting of personal property and the 3% CAP residential value increase, and this will be given by Mr. Raul Torrieta, the Grant County Assessor.
Ben hooked me up. Thank you very much for that comment about the Tamar Festival, and I guess everybody missed my singing. That's the only one I had to do last, so. You know, I see how long the agenda is, so I'm going to make it as brief as I can, okay there, Mayor?
Thank you.
No, that'll be just fine. Are you okay? Okay, thank you, man. All right, for starters, my name is Raul Torrieta, and New York County Assessor, and I've been there for the last 36 years, and I really enjoy doing this. Every year between January 1 and February 28th, we're in the self-rendering state, and I have to put these on. I'm not trying to be Hollywood or anything. They're bifocals, okay? So every year between January 1 and February 28th, it's what they call a rendition period. We have a self-rendering state here in the state of New Mexico. And what happens is, for example, on your veteran exemptions, head of households, and I'm going to just kind of break it as simple as I can on this. And then the cap, I'm not going to spend that much time on the cap. Anytime after January 1, we change of ownership, new construction, the property owner should pretty much send us this information if there's any new construction or additions or a change of address or also change of signage. And once again, it's between January 1 and February 28th. The limitation of value for residential property, what that is actually a 3% cap. What has happened in the year 2000, early in 2000, they had the tax lightning. So what the legislature wrote up a bill where they do increase property values 3% per year. And I'm on a 2-year cycle on my reappraisal, so I didn't do it last year, but I'm going to go ahead and do it this year. It really doesn't amount to that much due to the fact that it's taken off on the full value, not on your taxable value or your net taxable value. So for the year 2017, I will actually increase property values just on the residential side, not on the non-residential or vacant land. And here's a small example about the 3% cap. For example, the land is $50,000, improvement $100,000. So you add the 3%, that's an extra $4,500 on your full value, not on your taxable value. So like I said, it's on the upper end, it's not on your taxable value or your net taxable value. This is an important one that I've been really wanting to talk about. I went to Santa Clara today and Hurley to give valuation freeze, and Scott Terry, they're still awake, okay? So we'll just leave it at that. The 65 years and older, if you're 65 years and older, and you have an income of $32,000 combined income, and it's modified gross income, you actually have a freeze in your valuation, and that's for that year of 2017. You have to have an ID to prove that you're 65 years and older, occupancy, that you do own a primary resident here in Silver City or Grand County, and also identify the property by legal description. You need to submit your 2006 federal 1040 U.S. tax return, 2016 net New Mexico income tax, and also if you don't file, you come in and you bring what they call a PIT, RC, and it's for the New Mexico rebate. And once with that document right there, we will accept them there in the assessor's office. If for the 2017, it's going to freeze it for 2017, and you have to do it for 3 years. You actually have to come in, file the documents for 3 years. Once you do it for 3 years, it automatically stays in the system. Our Eagle assessor kicks it back to us, and then you don't have to come in and apply for the 3%, the 65 years and older, for the simple reason that once it stays in the system, it stays in the system unless the property gets transferred or something happens to the property owner. Exemption, we do have the head of household exemption of $2,000 off your taxable value, brings it down to your net taxable value. Your veteran exemption of surviving married, like for example, $4,000 off your taxable side. If the male passes away and he's the veteran, the spouse actually picks up the $4,000. They don't have to apply for it, but they could. They'll get their own certificate, and it is sent to the Veteran Service and Commission. 100% disabled, that actually takes you completely off the tax rolls. If it's a large piece of property and 5 acres, it takes you off the rolls. It started in about 10 years ago. We only had about 100% disabled. We're at 247 at this moment. And that pretty much concludes the exemptions. However, this year I'm actually doing all my forms on your business and personal property. And once again, your business, if there's new businesses, please send in what your personal property is. Like for example, in the restaurant, you pay for the stoves, you pay for the chairs, you pay for, you pay taxes on all this personal property. Same in any kind of business, motels, hotels, and like I said, it's self-rendering state. So we actually redid the form, and it does have the depreciation table on it, and it also breaks it all down on what schedule it is. Schedule 1, Schedule 2, Schedule 3, and it's all broken down in detail. And there's all the instructions on that. I'm also having done is the special method evaluation for applying for grazing for the special method evaluation, and you have to have 53.3 acres to carry 1 animal unit. So that's also have been revamped. In the past, we actually did all the forms on 1 paper, and it was very confusing. So that's why I'm breaking it all out, and it is going to have a cover letter for each one of them. Also with the livestock, you have to render livestock also. I did a study since 1991 on the capacity of livestock here in Grand County, and it has held its value from about 7 million to 8.5 million to the current year. So they are rendering their cattle, and we really appreciate that. Once again, I wasn't going to read that specifics on how we come up with a 3% cap, so I'm just going to go ahead and just say, just be prepared on the residential side. We're going to do a 3% cap just on the residential side for the year 2017, and I'll go ahead and email this to you, okay? Any questions? I stand for questions.
Councilman Smith?
I just want to say thank you for translating what could be difficult stuff.
I know,
Good
I
stuff.
apologize, but I need to see whenever you get 6, 7 assessors in a room, it gets a little crazy, trust me.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much, and I'll give you all this
Hang on just a minute. Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Torrio.
Thank you very much, and the Tomorrow Festival was great, and being out there for the Christmas flag parade, it was quite cool. Thank you very much.
Next on the agenda is a report, a marketing presentation by Callie Kennington, Executive Secretary of the Silver City Arts and Cultural District. Oh, wait. Okay, all right.
Hello, good evening. I think you may have gotten a sneak peek of our presentation earlier. So, first and foremost, I also wanted to compliment everyone who was involved with the Tamale Fiesta. I got to go down there and try out some chicken and green chili tamales, which were delicious. So thank you for everyone involved. Thank you to everyone involved. Additionally, I wanted to just recognize the people I work with quickly. My board, if you'd stand, and Rebecca Martin, here at the Visitor Center. They're a very important part of everything we do at the Arts and Cultural District, so I wanted to recognize them quickly. This evening we have a presentation prepared for you to show you our recent marketing efforts. So we're excited to share that, and also kind of the direction that we are moving into in the new year. And just for fun, we've sprinkled in some comments from visitors and Facebook users into our presentation to show the positive feedback we're receiving for our town. So in November, we rolled out a brand new website on visitsilvercity.org. So far, we've received positive feedback for that website, and it boasts a more modern, sleek design, beautiful, absolutely stunning imagery representing the very best of Silver City. So it kind of brought us up to the times, I would say, for visitors looking for travel. For last fiscal year's campaign, we focused on the centennial of the National Park Service, so we really leveraged that angle and pushed the outdoor adventure that is available here. Additionally, we've been leveraging the New Mexico True brand quite a bit, as it's recognizable and trusted among different travelers coming to the state. But this year, we've been focusing more on the variety of things that make Silver City a premier destination. It's arts, culture, history, downtown, major events, and attractions. And we're also working on incorporating Silver City's own branding and using that across all of our marketing platforms for a more cohesive look and design. Additionally, we've been collaborating with different entities to stretch all of our limited marketing dollars. So you'll see that throughout the presentation as well. So these are just some different examples of the kinds of things we've been doing lately. Obviously, the Helix Lift Dwellings is a big attraction for us, our stunning historic district downtown, the arts scene here, different events that are going on. This particular ad right here was done in New Mexico Magazine originally, as well as different publications. And this is nice. We have the opportunity to do a quarterly full page in New Mexico Magazine, so that gives us the chance to advertise upcoming events in the community and help them out, get the word out about what's going on here. So we've been doing repeat advertising as far as using these imagery, as you can see in different publications, so that it's reinforcing Silver City's brand, aesthetic, and making our advertising more familiar to visitors and viewers who are coming across it. Also at the bottom you'll see that it has a collective reach of all of those different outlets we're advertising in, so that it's kind of impressive how many people are seeing these different things. And then right here we have a couple examples of our advertising. The next couple slides. This is on the Rail Runner Express. So in each of the train cars, which there are 22 of, there's two 40-inch LCD screens showing our advertising, which reach over 100,000 people per month. And this is an example of the Tucson Sunlink streetcar. It travels through high traffic areas of 4th Avenue and the University of Arizona districts. And this is a venture we've done with Grant County Tourism for the past couple years to leverage both of our marketing dollars, again, collaboratively. And it's something we'll be pursuing again with their receival of the New Mexico Tourism Co-op grant. This is one of my favorite comments. Next, we wanted to speak a little bit about collaborative advertising. New Mexico True, this is one that will be in the New Mexico True Adventure Guide for 2017. It's a publication that will be out all year long and be released for winter and summer both, but this will be collectively in there. So we collaborated with the Silver City Museum and WNMU's Department of Cultural Affairs to put this one out. So it's also giving them some marketing at a much reduced price, I suppose. This is an example of one we did for Labor Day. We worked with a number of events going on that weekend: the Southwest Print Fiesta, Taste of Downtown, Rolling Stones Gym and Mineral Show, and as well as that Signal Peak Challenge on our Facebook site of advertising, which I'll comment on a little bit later. But this was something we had put together for different publications, and again, stretching all of our limited budgets to get the most bang for our buck. The next few slides show Silver City Spread in Edible Baja, Arizona, which I've included a copy of for each of you to show you the kind of publication it is. It's a beautiful, beautiful print magazine. And here we've balanced out downtown imagery with outdoors imagery. And so Silver City Arts and Culture District is anchoring this piece with one full page. We're matched another, and then as well as that, it gives the opportunity for local businesses to advertise with them, and so we have a really strong 4-page Silver City presence in this. Next, I was going to go over our collateral material. So this should be familiar to you all. This is the 101 Things to Do in Silver City. I've personally been trying to complete them all over the course of the past year, slowly but surely. This year we had 10,000 reprinted for this, and it's a really nice piece to give visitors, to show them the variety of things that are available to do in Silver City, and for them to send as a postcard to their friends and family back home. So this is the visitor map that we completed this year, and actually the town did pay for this map, but we facilitated the design for it, design process. It's foldable. Again, it's using the cohesive imagery for the cover, and it includes the street index and updated day trips section. And this is our most recent collateral piece that we just finished, and again, I've included copies for each of you in your file. We just had 20,000 of these guys printed with 4 unique cover designs, and they will be distributed to visitor centers statewide and mailed out as our fulfillment piece. And so this will replace the 25 Reasons to Love Silver City that we recently had that was quite outdated. So we are really happy to finish this and excited to present it to the community. Next, I wanted to touch on social media. This year, we've seen engagement with our social media accounts grow more than ever before. Something that was started a while ago is the Silver City NM hashtag, and it's been really interesting and cool to see the engagement that we've received with that from visitors and locals alike, showing our community and getting the chance to be featured on our own social media hubs. So it's kind of a collaborative effort in a way as well. Additionally, we started this year on paid Facebook advertising to increase our reach to different audiences, especially in places that we haven't been able to connect with on a print media level, and just, to be up with the times. I think the statistic is that people look at their social media accounts at least once per hour of their every waking hour, so it's definitely the future, and we're trying to leverage that and keep up with this. So this was a screenshot of a paid post we did for the Labor Day weekend that I mentioned, the Labor Day events. So again, Southwest Print Fiesta, Taste of Downtown, Rolling Stone Stone and Mineral Show, and Signal Peak Challenge were featured in this post, and then tagged to their individual pages. This one was really impressive, so it had a reach of over 49,000, shared over 200 times, and it just had loads of comments and likes and shares and all. And then these next couple slides are showing the examples of our average posts on social media. And something that is really important for social media is consistency, brand image, authenticity, and audience engagement, which we're always trying to do and continue to do better. And then we have statistics. So leading into that, I'll start with social media statistics. Again, it's growing. Facebook, since our beginning of our fiscal year, saw a 13.79 increase. Instagram's rising, continuing to rise with a 9.86 increase. So it's really exciting to see all these people getting to know our town and possible visitors, to come here, getting them excited about Silver City. This slide shows visitor center attendance compared to this time last year. Since the beginning of our fiscal year, we are remaining steady or increasing by quite a bit in some cases, with October seeing a 14.4% increase in visitors and November a 12.9% increase over last year's visitor center attendance. And this was a study that was released in October, stating that visitor spending in New Mexico has increased for 6 years in a row. And something that's really great for Grant County in particular is we experienced the highest percentage of growth rate out of all of the rest of the state, with a 13.3% growth rate. And so this reflects 2015, the study was done in 2015 and reflects previous advertising we had done. So the next few slides are what I was speaking about earlier, trying to develop our own unique Silver City brand. This is an example of something that we just published, or will be out for February 2017 for True West magazine. And again, just looking at mirroring and creating a more cohesive look through our website, through our booklet that I passed out, our map, social media, and really driving home that brand, Silver City. And the next ones are some mock-ups of different advertising that we're looking to do in 2017. Just really showcasing the unique aspects of Silver City and showcasing the very best of what our town has to offer. And then one thing I wanted to also mention in our coming up is we also, as well as Grant County Tourism, received word of that we got the grant for New Mexico Tourism Department, so that will enable us to continue advertising in regional airports with the New Mexico True brand, so that's Albuquerque, Tucson, and El Paso International Airports. This is great news. Any questions? Comments?
Thank you, Mayor. This work is beautiful. I mean, you obviously put a lot of work into it, and I appreciate that. But I had some comments the last time you were here, and they were apparently not heard, so I'm going to say them again. When you have pictures of cultural events, and you do not include the culture that created those events, it's offensive. Also, for these books, granted they're all the same book once you get past the cover, there's exactly one Hispanic person in this. One. And since I know Selena Romero, I can tell you that she's actually from Deming. So it really disturbs me that there are no Native Americans, there's no Native American culture in any of this, except for a picture of the cliff dwellings where an Anglo family is visiting in the picture, and there's no Hispanics. Our town includes Hispanics. You talk about the culture and history, neither one of those is being included in this. The very best of Silver City, you're missing at least 50% of the population in these. I would really like to see a change in that, and I would like to see that before we do Lodgers tax again, or else I'm going to have something to say that night too. Thank you.
Any other comments? Any other questions? In terms of community activities and tourism, I'd like to remind you that February the 11th, 2017, has been designated, as well every other year on February the 11th, as Territorial Charter Day. And I'd like to encourage community organizations to start thinking about what kind of activities can we do on that day or that week or whatever to promote this important heritage that we have. So thank you for that consideration, and thank you for your report.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment and say that we are trying to incorporate more diverse photography in our marketing moving forward, and I appreciate your feedback.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, do you have any staff reports?
First, we'll go ahead and start with Robert. He's got something that he would like to report.
I just completed my term as president of the statewide New Mexico Municipal Attorneys Association. We had a 3-day conference in Albuquerque about 2 weeks ago. A lot of great information was shared. I would like to pay special tribute to our code enforcement department. Julie Salais and Roger Cruzan made a presentation to about 60 attorneys, city attorneys from all over the state. There was a visual presentation with beautiful artwork from Jacqueline McNeese, and the response from the association was extremely enthusiastic. I was very proud to be there with our code enforcement officers. So that's what I had to say. Thank you.
Any questions for Mrs. Calderon? Any other report, Mr. Brown?
Yes, sir. As you remember, you know that we've been working with the town of Hurley and the region on the Grant County Regional Water Plan. In 2014, the commission was awarded $2.1 million towards that first phase, getting water to Hurley, with conditions that they wanted us to come back and report by the end of this year, which I did yesterday, to show that we were going to be able to make progress, so that they could give final approval for that funding. They did give final approval for that funding, and we changed the allocation from the Grant County Water Commission to Hurley because all of the other funding sources that we've been working with them, going directly to Hurley. And so we wanted to make the process easier, and that's showing some very positive progress. Second, on Friday, well, a couple weeks ago, I was asked to go to a ceremony, recognition ceremony, and because the company that did our water meter project had nominated us for an award. And I had no idea what this organization was, and so I showed up on Friday, and we were nominated. It was one of the largest commercial real estate organizations in the state, and all of the projects that had been nominated were hundreds of millions, tens of millions of dollars size of projects. But we were nominated for our water meter project because of the way that we did the project through the ESCO process, and being that it was the first one ever done in New Mexico, they wanted to recognize us for it, because since we've done it, 12 other communities have started the process to go through to do projects this way, because it's a much more a safer way of doing it for communities. And so actually 2 other communities have actually closed on the process, so they awarded us. Well, we didn't win the final award because we were up against Winrock Center and CNN, the college up there in Albuquerque. But we got this award for being recognized by the organization. There was like 600 people at that award ceremony. So when I got there and I was told I better get there early because there might not be parking, I was a little bit surprised. I just want to recognize the staff for their really good work, and the town council for being innovative and always accepting of new ideas, of new ways of doing things.
Mr. Brown, could you hold that up so the audience can see it? Does the council have any comments or questions? Congratulations, Mr. Brown.
With that, I don't have anything else.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is unfinished business, item 10A, and this item was removed by a council vote under the item of changes to the agenda. The next item on the agenda is 11A, under new business, and this item was also removed by the council by vote under the changes to agenda item. The next item that requires action is item 11B. The approval, disapproval of notice of intent, ordinance number 1254, an ordinance authorizing the donation of the tract of town-owned land known as the old Hillcrest Hospital site for an affordable housing project. Mr. Brown?
Mayor, Jamie Engbert, the Community Development Director, will start this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Bethel Development has approached the town to create an affordable senior housing project, and the packets that I gave you earlier today will allow this notice of intent to be the very beginning of a discussion. They should have a completed application to us by the end of the month, and the pages that could be most useful for you in this packet are near the back to show you the elevations of their proposed building. And also Mark Schumacher is here to represent the company, so he can speak to you now and ask you, answer some questions. And so this NOI would be the very beginning of discussing this project, and once we receive their completed application, then our due diligence will begin for the project. So do you have any questions for me, or I'll introduce Mr. Schumacher?
Questions?
Thank you, Jamie. Mr. Mayor, members of council, my name is Mark Schumacher. I'm with Bethel Development. Bethel Development is domiciled in Ohio. We're a real estate development, management, construction company. Although we are in Ohio, we are very active in Arizona and New Mexico exclusively. That's where we work. We're no strangers to New Mexico. We have 7 projects here. And in fact, we have 1 project right here in Silver City. 2001, we came here and developed, can I pull this up? We came here and developed the Silver Cliffs Apartments on Little Walnut Road. And for the last 15 years, we've provided affordable, comfortable, safe, secure, very nice housing. From what I understand in talking to people in the city, the project has been very well received. It's well managed, it's well run. And about 6 months ago, we started looking at other opportunities in New Mexico. And that got us to the site directly adjacent to our property, which is the former site of the former Hillcrest Hospital. The more we started looking at it, we thought it was an exciting project. Not only is there an opportunity, there's a need for more affordable housing. Ms. Embeck gave me a copy of the Silver City affordable housing study that was done in 2010, I believe it was, and it's remarkable. It really nailed it. I read it extensively. It points out shortcomings in the housing market, especially the affordable housing market in Silver City. And I think what we've tried to do is present a proposal that addresses some of the issues brought forth in that study. The other exciting thing about this proposal is that there is an opportunity here that may be fleeting. We develop these properties with housing tax credits issued by the New Mexico Mortgage Finance Agency. Every year they write a new qualified allocation plan. I don't know how much detail you want me to go into in this. I can go back to the beginning in 1986 when the Reagan administration rewrote the tax bill, created the tax credit program. I won't go there, okay? This is a housing program run by the Internal Revenue Service, if you can get your arms around that. HUD has nothing to do with it. But the neat thing about it is that the IRS has delegated to state agencies to promulgate the rules and regulations as they affect that state individually. And the New Mexico Mortgage Finance Agency every year comes up with a plan showing how developers may apply for and hopefully receive these credits, which is really the engine that pulls the train in affordable housing. There are very few funding opportunities. This is a very small one. But because the plan changes every year, as I said, there's a fleeting opportunity. This year, there is a section in there for donation of land, cash, waiver of fees, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that municipalities, towns, cities, counties can do, which gets points to a project. Did I fail to mention these are very competitive application processes? They are. The other thing that's in there is that, as it affects this property, is that it's very close, it's within a half mile of the New Mexico Main Street program. That gets additional points. The other thing that's very important to this particular site is that it is a brownfield site. This year we get additional points for that. Now the remediation has been done, but there is still monitoring work during the excavation of foundations and things like that to be done. So we have been told by our consultants that it would qualify for those points. What we're proposing is a 69-unit building there, which, as you can see from the pictures in the back of the proposal, are similar in scale to what was there before. There's a picture of the hospital in there, and then there's a picture that we kind of superimposed onto the site from a distance. It's an affordable housing project. Right now, we project that the rents, gross rents for the project, which would include utilities, would be in the neighborhood of $443 for a one-bedroom apartment and $475 for a two-bedroom, two-bath apartment. These are high-quality, fully equipped apartments, energy efficient, all appliances, washer, dryer hookups, elevator-served building, secure, safe. It is independent living. There's no food service. However, we do have Meals on Wheels come in and other social service agencies. We try to wrap our residents with as much help as we can give them from the community. There will be a nonprofit involved as a social service coordinator. So we'll have that going to help the residents. We currently have developed 11 senior housing projects in Arizona and New Mexico. I think there's one back in Ohio. We know what we're doing. We've been in business for 25 years. Every property we have is fully occupied. We have never defaulted on a mortgage. We've always been current on all of our payments, on all of our rents. So you're not dealing with somebody that just fell off the boat. We've done this before, and we think we wouldn't be here if we didn't think we had an excellent opportunity, even in a competitive environment. It's a very expensive proposition for us to put an application together. I do want to thank staff and Jamie and Mr. Marshall for their advice and counsel. I wish I'd taken it. I wish I had more of it, which is one reason our packet got to you so late in the game. I apologize for that. Some of the benefits to the city, to the town, that will come from this, aside from 69 additional units of high-quality, affordable housing, is right now there's no revenue coming from that site. It's not on the tax rolls, and we will be paying real estate taxes on it. I think our Silver Cliffs apartments in the 15 years that we've been there have probably paid in excess of $120,000 in real estate taxes. It's a $7 million construction project. There will be gross receipts tax on that, of which I believe the town will get something from. In terms of long-term benefits, we will sign a land use restriction agreement with the state guaranteeing the affordability of the project for 35 years. So, and we maintain ownership of all the properties that we have developed. We own them. We don't sell these properties. We will be presenting you with a more detailed booklet, for lack of a better word, application proposal, which will encompass all of the items in your Chapter 9 of the Affordable Housing Ordinance. And we look forward very much to being back in Silver City and working on a very exciting project with you. Questions?
Thank you. Based on the demographics of Silver City, this would be a great addition to our community for the quality of living. I sure hope we can pull it off.
Well, thank you.
Councilor Medicine?
So can you tell me how much investment you propose to put into the community, into this project?
The total development cost for the project is approximately $9.9 million. As proposed right now, it's early in the game.
Right.
That's a moving target.
And are you currently working on Silver Cliffs?
We are. We have, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, what is it that you're doing, and are you improving them, and how much is your investment in that property?
We built that property approximately 15 years ago, and we're currently, we have embarked this past year on a $10 million reinvestment into that property. We're providing new roofs, new kitchens, new countertops. We're tearing walls out, new flooring, new carpeting, new insulation. It's going to be a much more energy efficient and green building than it was before. I mean, technology in building has changed dramatically in the last 15 years. And we're trying to bring an older property, even though it's not that old, it's dated, and we're trying to bring it up to modern standards. And again, we will be signing a long-term land use restriction agreement on that as well.
One of the things that when we do something like this that really interests me, I mean, you're talking about energy efficiency and a significant investment in our town. And I'm hoping that as we go through this process, that you'll consider some things that might enhance, like potentially thinking about maybe doing rooftop gardens where the seniors can participate and then cultivate food that they themselves can, fresh vegetables can consume, or doing other sustainable things like making sure you're part of our recycling program in the town, because we have a pay-as-you-throw, and, if there are seniors that currently live in our town that move in there, they're going to want to continue to be able to do the recycling, because we have I have to say, pretty darn good recycling program and system for making sure that you're only paying for what you actually throw away in the garbage can. You're not paying for recycling.
Right.
And, things like maybe working on a private, public investment, whether it's with the town or with another entity. There's a number of 501c3s to maybe enhance the slope in the area, to maybe terrace it, to make it look more, to make it look greener, and to kind of give it that essence, because this is the district that I'm in, and it's situated on a hilltop that is seen no matter which direction you're coming from. You can see. And so I think that there have been many proposals before I was a council member and since for what might to go up on top of there, and so far this one, at least for me, is it really is exciting to me, simply because it's filling a need that we have for our seniors. I'm a senior. I'm over 55, so I think that the fact that we have an aging population, and that our town itself has 4%, at least when the study was done, more seniors than the state average. I mean, that says that people love to come here, they love to retire here. We want to encourage them to stay here. And I think affordable housing is part of that, making sure that they can stay and they can continue to live here, and to attract additional people to our area. Our seniors are so active. They do so many things in our town, from volunteerism to running their own businesses to just, you name it, they're doing all sorts of things. And I think that this location it's an opportunity. It's something that, when I look at it, it's quiet. It's not necessarily, something where there would be a lot of activity. I mean, we have seniors there, but they would be active. But at the same time, I guess when I look at something like this, I think of what the people in that area are going to think that have residences, that own residences, that it's going to be relatively not too much of an impact, hopefully, to the area. And I hope that you address that in what you're going to provide to us.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I have been in this business for 35 years, I believe now, and the impact of a senior housing community in a town, in a city, is about as low impact on the surrounding as you can get. Noise is negligible, traffic is negligible. It's like I said, it's not a congregate living facility, so we don't have food service trucks coming in and out every day. It is accessible. There's two entrances. If you look at the site plan that's in there to address your gardening, rooftop gardening presents a lot of structural issues, but we have a lot of room on the site for community gardening, and we encourage that. We do recycle at our communities, so that's a given. I hear what you're saying, and I'm 100% behind you.
Well, there's always wish list, and it doesn't hurt to throw out some ideas.
Absolutely.
One of the things, in looking at the plans briefly, I noticed that this is not just, it's for seniors and it's affordable housing, but you are going to have a number of ADA accessible units.
Absolutely.
And
The president of our company has been in a wheelchair for 40 years, so we are very cognizant of accessibility issues, trust me.
well, I would encourage you to, when you come forward with more information, and I know that this is a bit premature, is to think about additional handicap spaces, because, I mean, I don't know if you noticed, I'm on a cane today, and so I'm also mobility. And so also I would want you to think about, I noticed that you had a plan for the different units, and I would hope that in the ADA accessible ones, that you might think maybe not of a bathtub, but of a walk-in shower with a seat.
We do.
You know, some options like that.
We do that.
Okay, great. So I just, I'm throwing out some wish lists, and I'm asking you some questions just to try to get my head around what...
If I can address a couple issues that I didn't address.
Councilor Kano?
I need to have a short break. I move for a short break, please. Right
Do we
now.
have a motion for a short break?
Second.
In favor, say aye.
Aye.
We'll adjourn for 5 minutes. I call the meeting back to order. Councilor Bedison, you were...
I think that, I guess our speaker was responding to some of the comments and wanted to fill in a few more things.
Yes, just really a short comment to answer your question and to follow up on what I was speaking to the young ladies over here about. This is just a first step. This is not a finished product. What we're trying to do is to get to the starting line with MFA. They have an innumerable regulatory process and very painful application process. We've done it before, we'll do it again, and that's our job, that's what we do. But this is by no stretch of the imagination a fait accompli. I mean, we're going to work on this, we're going to have community meetings, we're going to get input from residents, from people in your district, Councilwoman, who will help us design this. I mean, I'm not going to design it by committee, but we're going to get input, okay, and try to incorporate that. But again, let me emphasize, this is just the first step. We need to get to the starting line. And with the help of staff and with the help of you all and your esteemed attorney, I hope we can get there.
Well, I'm not the sponsor of this particular ordinance.
You're not making a motion, are
You
you?
want me to wait?
Yeah, are there any
Okay.
other questions from the council? And I'd like to announce that no one signed up for public input on this particular item, so it's your turn. Yeah.
So I'll repeat myself that while I'm not the sponsor of this particular NOI, it is in my district, and I'm incredibly supportive of it making it through the process. This, as you just mentioned, is the beginning of the process, and there's a lot that needs to go wherever we decide to go. So that one of the things before I move to approve this NOI, I want to encourage the public to make sure that they let the council know and staff know any of concerns that they have, because this will come before us as an ordinance January 10th at our next meeting. That's a whole month, and I know that the holidays are here. I know that I will be in holiday and vacation mode, but that doesn't mean you can't email me. It doesn't mean you can't leave a message. I may not respond quickly, but I want to ensure that everyone knows we want to hear your input on this. We want to know what you feel about this site in particular being used for this purpose. Pros and cons, any suggestions, things like that. And as we haven't stated, this is, even if it goes to this next step and it gets approved in January as an ordinance, it doesn't mean we'll actually get the brass ring. This is a series of steps that what it does is, at least right now, we're beginning the discussion process. It's as Councilor Amon Smith said in her council comments, that an NOI is the opportunity for us to discuss and to hear from all of you what you think about this. So please let us know. With that, let's make sure I've got all my papers with me here. I move to approve notice of intent ordinance number 1254, an ordinance authorizing the donation of the tract of town-owned land known as the Old Hillcrest Hospital site for an affordable housing project with the following modifications. The first whereas, which begins whereas on December 13th, 2016, and ends with and, is deleted. The fifth whereas, Chapter 4, it begins with whereas, Chapter 48, Section 48-22, and ends again with and, is deleted. And finally, on the fourth whereas, which there will be an insert, and I will read it with the inserted language and note where it is. Whereas the applicant is specifically requesting that the town donate the town-owned Hillcrest Hospital site, more particularly described in Appendix A, attached hereto and incorporated herein by this reference, this begins the new language, and that the town waive all fees for permitting, comma, inspections, comma, and other fees normally imposed on a construction project within the town, semicolon, and. End insert.
Do we have a second?
Mr. Mayor, I will second that motion, Steve.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have item C, a presentation and discussion of Welcome to Silver City signage. Mr. Brown?
Brace yourselves, things are about to get real heavy in here.
Nothing like a little suspense.
Take a bow before you go back in your case.
That's not exactly what I had in mind.
You made that look so easy, didn't you? So this is a presentation as requested by the mayor for Welcome to Silver City signs. And this is a disclaimer that I'm going under the bus if there's any errors. So Silver City Main Street has been working with Community by Design on downtown wayfinding signs, and it was, I bring this up and I include it in the presentation because it's really important, and we felt it was important that this be a cohesive product off of that work. And you'll see one of the draft signs. The photo on the right identifies the element that they selected, which is a element of architecture that is on the Bell block in the Vesely buildings in downtown Silver City. and you'll see that prominently in most of the signs. So here's another couple examples of the draft wayfinding signs that Main Street has prepared and is working on. And you can see that architectural element is included. So Mayor Ladner requested that we prepare some options for the Welcome to Silver City signs. And in doing so, we discussed with Main Street and their wayfinding sign project, and felt it was very beneficial and important that we maintain the consistency, as I said. We've worked with Outcome Engineers, Inc., Community by Design, and Mexico Department of Transportation to get to this point. And I was actually going to invite Scott Perry up here just to stand with me, not to speak, just to stand. Many of you get that joke, some of you won't. This is an option one that was presented, and I think it's important as you look at these, that the sign and the base are two separate elements and can be interchanged. So you may like the stacked block look on this, but not necessarily the actual sign. So option two with two actually different options in it, with the more Adobe look on the base and the more designed sign. Option three kind of looks like it's in the wrong town, in my opinion, but it was given to us, so you got it. And you can see my enthusiasm with this one by my heading, but it is an option to consider, and it does include some elements that are very important to Silver City.
Councilor Bedeston had a question about that sign, that last one.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so I know it's a bird on the right, on my right, but I don't know what kind of bird it is. And then there's a bicycle, and then that's a piece of mining equipment, or is it the Arresta? And then there's the seal on the left. And is that a coyote or a seal? I'm trying to picture what everything is, and I couldn't figure it out, and I tried to vote up, so I'm not trying to be really funny, I'm just trying to ask really, what is it? Do you know?
I'm not sure which of my previous comments I should go back to, whether things are going to get real heavy.
Don't ask me.
Or refer to my heading.
Thank you, Councilor
I'm not leaning towards this one as a recommendation.
Okay, but I just wanted to know, in case people ask me.
I think it's a Chrysler Tower in the middle. I think it's the kneeling nun on the left.
Oh, it is? Oh, it's backwards.
Bicycle. And
is it Roadrunner or is it a quail? It's a crow.
There is some breeding between the two species.
Go ahead,
Mr. Staley brings up a good point. The purpose of the presentation and putting these forward is to provoke discussion and comment, and this one apparently has some issues. As you're driving 55 miles an hour down the highway, and you come across that sign and you have seconds to interpret it. So, getting back on track, this is a map, and you have it in your packet, so it's a little bit easier for you to read it there. The general locations that we've chosen, there's one on 180 East, just to the west of Baca's Funeral Home. There's one on 180 West that is just to the north of Market Street, and one on 90 South that is south of Harrison Schmidt. And This is a representation of the one on Highway 90, and yes, they're welcome to Silver City, and yes, they're not exactly on the city limit boundaries, and there's very distinct reasons for that. One, there has to be some escape space that DOT requires. There's quite a bit of engineering considerations on highway design and public safety that the Department of Transportation will not let us interfere when we put a rather large structure out there for people to run into. So that's why these sites were specifically chosen. This is actually the graphic representation of where the sign is proposed. This is a graphic representation. You can see that the sign looks like it's kind of floating out there. And this is the one that's just to the west of Baca's Funeral Home. This is the sign just to the north of Market Street on 180. And that was a pretty difficult one actually to find a good location for, because there's some rock there that protects and is already limiting the escape routes. So we were able to put it up there. And we did do a tour with Occam Engineering and Department of Transportation already and looked at the signs. Occam has begun some of the work that's required pre-permitting, and I'll show you in a minute on that. I gave all of you the engineer's estimate for this project. And this is an estimate from Occam Engineering that involves the project development, scoping, the topography and utility survey, the New Mexico Department of Transportation permitting, and project design, for a grand total of $18,027.90. We do feel that the project design has some room to be negotiated in there, because we're hoping that you'll select one sign for the 3 locations, and we won't have to actually do design and engineering on 3 different signs. So we'll negotiate that price, but that gets us to construction. That doesn't pay for construction, and we don't have any signs after paying that. So this is a project that's going to take us a little bit of time, and make sure that we have the funding available to get us to construction. We'll put this presentation on the town's website, and the mayor has requested that we present it today and let it sit on the website for the next month, so that you may all consider it, the public can consider, review, and provide comment. I believe all of you have your contact information is available on the website. You can be contacted that way, as well as there's a link on our homepage that you can provide, report a pothole or other issues. You can provide comments on that as well as to the options.
Wait, Mayor, that's what I was going to ask, is there a separate link where we can collect the data if people want to that actually says comments on proposed signs for town of Silver City, so that, because right now, like I said, it's the holidays, people are, some of us are going to be in vacation holiday mode, and I think sometimes that if we can collect it on the website, we can tally it up faster. And then getting, not that I want to discourage people from emailing or calling, it's just that I think that if we want to get a comprehensive tally, I would encourage people to, maybe if we can do something special where there's a form specifically or a link specifically, that they're not feeling kind of weird reporting a pothole, but they're not reporting a pothole, they're talking about the signage.
Mr. Brown reassures me that we can have a link added it'll populate a specific database for the signs.
We'll work with our webmaster to show the options, and if you may be able to make a comment on those.
And I have another just brief question. Looking at the general engineering support, which you gave us, the funding request just for this, one of the things that it says in there under topo utility survey task is it says also includes right-of-way or ROW research. That includes archaeological, to make sure that you're not in an archaeological site. So just be aware that if they do, I'm not necessarily right on the rocks unless they're, bedrock mortars, but that can also increase the projected cost.
Absolutely.
So I'm just saying this is projected, not final. So, sorry, I just wanted to bring it up so that we're well aware that this is the beginning of what's going to be a fairly long process in order to get the funding together to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other question, Councilor Conlon?
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd just like to tell everyone in District 4 I'm anxious to hear what you have to say about this, and I'd really love to hear it before we vote. So please send me your emails, give me a call, stop me at Walmart, whichever works for you. The other thing is it possible for us to change what the sign says? Because right now it says, "Welcome, Silver City." It would be nice to say "Welcome to Silver City." That exclamation point is killing me as someone with an English major. So if we could consider changing that, I would really appreciate it, because it's going to make me cry every time I drive by it, if not.
Every component is going to be left up to the council for your decision and your approval for the mayor's request.
Councilor Ray?
And off the wall question. Can you put something in Spanish also? Is it feasible?
So we have to be conscious that the traffic in all of these areas is in excess of 45 miles an hour, which limits the exposure time that a driver has to actually see the information, interpret the information, and find some value out of it. So the more we clutter the sign, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's with words in any language, it detracts actually getting the message across.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
No.
Okay. So, make a comment. Come up.
James asked him to come in.
I told him I wasn't going to let him speak.
The question is, because it wasn't mentioned, are these going to be lit at night?
So that was actually a consideration that we've been discussing, and it would have to be solar. So that'll be, you guys can value that and make it relative to the cost increase and the resources available to the town at that point.
Okay, thank you, and I'd like to encourage the public to go online or call your council person, because we have until January the 9th or so to receive input. Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Next on the agenda is 11D, the disapproval of resolution number 2016-33, authorizing the execution and delivery of a local government planning grant agreement by and between the New Mexico Finance Authority and the town of Silver City in the amount of $6,250, evidencing an obligation of the grantee to utilize the grant amount and the local match amount solely for the purpose of financing the cost of a bicycle master plan. Mr. Brown?
Mayor and Council, Denise Smith will present this one.
Ms. Smith?
She's the one that gave it to me, and she didn't tell me what it was, but I know what it is. I've got it. Basically, this is the bicycle master plan. Initially, we received the grant, and we were funded 50%, I believe. Was it 50%? Yeah, 50% of the original estimated amount. This is just making it 50% of the actual amount of the cost of the master plan. It's just changing the dollar amount of what we've already been allocated.
Mr. Marshall?
So additionally, it's important to know when you do NMFA funding, they do it backwards. So you've probably seen this before, but it was a little strange to me that they actually made the award. We had to do the project and complete it, and then you get the documents back that say you got the award and that you're going to do this stuff that you already did.
Any questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Go right ahead.
I have to read the whole thing. Ms. Mackey, has some of that language been fixed on this one? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to read the whole thing. I'm ready? All right. My colleague is reminding me I have to read the whole thing. I move to approve Resolution number 2016-33, authorizing the execution and delivery of a local government planning grant agreement by and between the New Mexico Finance Authority, the Finance Authority, and the Town of Silver City, the grantee, in the amount of $6,250, $6,250, evidencing an obligation of the grantee to utilize the grant amount and the local match amount solely for the purpose of financing the costs of a bicycle master plan, and solely in the manner described in the grant agreement, certifying that the grant amount, together with the local match amount and other funds available to the grantee, is sufficient to complete the project, approving the form of and other details concerning the grant agreement, ratifying actions heretofore taken, repealing all actions inconsistent with this resolution, and authorizing the taking of other actions in connection with the execution and delivery of the grant agreement.
Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, I second that very dramatic reading of the resolution.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I actually have a comment, which is that I want to thank Peter Pena and the audience for already working on grants for the bicycle master plan. I want to thank Denise for being the coordinator, and I especially want to thank Mr. Marshall and you, Mr. Brown, for making the bicycle master plan happen.
Roll call, please, Ann.
Councilor Madison?
Aye.
Councilor Amy Smith? Aye. Councilor Ray? Councilor Kano? Aye.
The motion passes 3-1. The next item under new business 11E is the approval, disapproval of resolution number 2016-35, supporting an application to the New Mexico Finance Authority under the Colonials Infrastructure Fund for water system improvements in Silver City, Grant County. Alex?
This one will be presented by Robert Esqueda.
Mayor and Council, what you have before you is just the resolutions to support the Utilities Department submitting an application, like the mayor said, to the Colonias Infrastructure Board for water system improvements along Highway 15, also known as PA Road, from Newsham Street to Pine Street, due to numerous conflicts with the planned road improvements. We We could have done here and there relocation, and instead we felt it was best to go in, replace the existing 6-inch line and services with the new 8-inch line and services to all the residents to improve our capabilities for delivering water and have new infrastructure in place prior to the new road being done.
Any questions? Councilor Bettis?
So I just want to say, I'm going to ask a question. When the second resolution is similar in terms of the water improvements, what's the difference between the two, the Colonias and the one that's coming up?
I'll explain that one.
So that, I just wanted to just put it on the table that that's going to come up.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other questions? I hear a motion. Councilor Kano?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve of resolution number 2016-35, supporting an application to the New Mexico Finance Authority under the Colonias Infrastructure Fund for water system improvements in Silver City, Grant County.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Councilor Ray? Any discussion? Roll call, please, Ann.
Councilor Kano?
Aye.
Councilor Ray?
Aye.
Councilor Amos Smith? Aye. Councilor Benson?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item is 11F, the approval, disapproval of resolution number 2016-36, supporting an application to the New Mexico Finance Authority under the Colonias Infrastructure Fund for street improvements in Silver City, Grant County. Alex?
Mayor, this one will be presented by Peter Peña.
Mayor, Council, what I'm trying to establish here is we're trying to get some funding for a survey and design. Sorry about that. The application that we're going to put into the Colonias is a street improvement project. Normally, what we've been doing in the past is we've been going after some construction money mainly, but this is a new project, and what we're going to do is we're looking at a survey and design for Ridge Road. What we're going to do, this project is approximately about $198,000, what we're asking for. We'll be looking at producing a set of plans that will get us to construction. So that way we can save some money and hopefully use that when we go after some construction money, because it is a fairly large project. So money that we'll be saving in the design part, we might be able to use for construction. This will get us it'll look at new paving, it'll look at establishing curb and gutter drainage improvements, sidewalks, bike lanes. It'll make it a multimodal street. With that, I'll take any questions.
Question?
The project area will be from New Mexico 90 all the way to the city limits. We'll be looking at a design for that.
Thank you.
For that section.
Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Ray?
I move to approve of resolution 2016-36, supporting an application to New Mexico Finance Authority under the Colonias Infrastructure Fund for street improvements in Silver City, Grant County.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second that motion as stated.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Another roll call, Ann, please.
Councilor Kano?
Aye.
Councilor Ray?
Aye.
Councilor Amos Smith? Aye. Councilor Benson?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. The next new business is 11G, the approval/disapproval of resolution number 2016-37, a resolution authorizing the town manager to submit a loan application to the state of New Mexico State Infrastructure Bank for the purpose of funding water line reconstruction along New Mexico Highway 15, the Pinos Altos Road, due to conflicts with New Mexico Department of Transportation scheduled roadway reconstruction of New Mexico Highway 15 from Newsham Street to 32nd Bypass Road. Alex?
This is actually exactly the same project that Robert presented to you earlier. The difference is because of timing issues. The project is going to have to be done because the DOT is doing that Highway 15 reconstruction. So we are going to have to do the project whether we receive the grant or not. And so this is a backup just in case we don't get the grant. But it also is a safety net just in case timing issues arise, such as the project proceeds before we actually close on the grant if we do receive it, so we can get the loan and pay it back with the grant. If we only get partial funding on the grant, then we can use the difference to complete the project. And if we don't get the grant, then we have the funds to make sure that it is completed with the project. And we did this with the water line under the Highway 180 bridge. This time, though, we did go out for a 10-year period on the repayment, so we're looking about a little over $40,000 a year repayment, using the net system revenues of the water sewer fund for repayment as a dedication.
Any questions? Councilor Featherston?
Yeah, so that's what I thought. I guess the question is when does the highway department anticipate beginning their project?
After July.
So that will be a close call if we do get Colonia's money, is to actually get the grant running and to get the grant paperwork and everything.
Yeah, so most likely if it starts in July, you said? In July. Well, the construction won't start till September, October. And usually the Colonia's grants aren't closing until December, usually November, December. So we probably we'll have the award, but not the funds from the grant, most likely, if we are awarded it. But in this case, we'll have the loan in place, so that way they can let it, because we have to prepay it. The DOT will make it part of their project that they let. And so we have to show them a guarantee of payment for that portion of the project. And so what we're going to do with this SIV loan is we're going to guarantee the payment with the SIV loan. And then if we are awarded the grant, then we will repay the loan with the grant when it closes.
I have one more question. For the residents and businesses in that area, is there going to be some sort of system put in where they can continue to use their facilities?
As far as the construction of the water, yeah, it's just like any water line replacement. Okay. You know, they work in sections so that you're not they actually build it, the new one, before they take it off.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
And then they connect them.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have a question?
Councilor Cano? Oh, I'm sorry. Councilor.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, just for public clarification, could you say a few words about what the State of New Mexico State Infrastructure Bank actually is?
Well, it's basically a fund that the state has set aside to assist communities like, in cases like this, whereby when a state project is being constructed and there are city utilities or city amenities that are being impacted by their project, they're providing you a way to finance the project without, it's very, these funds are easy to apply for. You can repay them like you can't do a lot of times with other loans. You have to wait out the entire period before and pay on an annual basis. This one, say for instance, we got the loan this year, we didn't get the grant. We applied for the grant next year. We could repay it next year. So you can repay it at any time if you find another alternative. It's just helping communities that get impacted by a state project.
Thank you. And is it not sort of administered by or a little pocket in the DOT?
Yes, it's a pocket of funds that they have at DOT.
Right, so we can't think of it as being like Bank of America or anything. It's actually state funds to help us when the state comes in to do something to us.
Yes.
Right, thank you.
Any other questions? Do I hear a motion? Councilor Kano?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 2016-37, a resolution authorizing the town manager to submit a loan application to the State of New Mexico State Infrastructure Bank for the purpose of funding water line reconstruction along New Mexico Highway 15, Pinos Arcos Road, due to conflicts with the New Mexico Department of Transportation schedule roadway reconstruction of New Mexico Highway 15 from Newsham Street to 32nd Bypass Road.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Wright, have a second? Any discussion? Roll call in, please.
Councilor Kano? Aye. Councilor Ray?
Aye.
Councilor Amos Smith? Aye. Councilor Madison?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Next item is 11H. The approval/disapproval of the summary of agreement between the Town of Silver City and Local 2430 International Association of Firefighters, AFL-CIO. Mr. Brown?
Mayor and Council, this is a tentative agreement that I negotiated with the fire department union. It actually impacts all of the shift personnel, so it's from captains down. But the union is only comprised of lieutenants down. So we've got in the agreements that the captains get what the shift personnel get because they work the same work. What we came up with was a 70-cent an hour increase effective December 18th of this year. They currently have a anniversary cost of living increase that is 1.5%. We've agreed at 2.5%. Currently, their cost of living increase goes on their base pay, but they've got incentive pay, certification pays. We've agreed that it's going to go on their total pay, which would be their base pay plus the certification increases. And there are a few employees this fiscal year that have already received the 1.5% cost of living increase between July 1 of this fiscal year and December 18th. Those employees will be readjusted to receive the 2% this year. And it is effective December 18th. It'll cost approximately $36,000 on an annual basis. We will not have to do a budget adjustment because we over budgeted in insurance. We did the insurance increase over an entire fiscal year, and it doesn't take effect until January 1 of the year. And some of the employees have changed to a cheaper insurance, so we don't have to do a budget adjustment to pay for this fiscal year.
Any questions for Mr. Brown? Any public input? Okay, do I hear a motion? Councilor Kano?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve of the summary of agreement between the Town of Silver City and the Local 2430 International Association of Firefighters, AFL-CIO.
Is there a second? Councilor Madison?
I second the motion as stated.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next item of business is 11L, approval/disapproval of resolution number 2016-31 for the regular municipal election to be held on March the 7th, 2017. Ann?
Yes, Mayor and Council, I'm asking for your approval of this resolution to call the election of March 7th, 2017. It's for elective offices of Councilor in District 1, and counselor in District 3 for a 2-year term. We'll have consolidated districts again with one polling place at the Silver City Women's Club. A few other details on the resolution state that absentee voting will begin at City Hall on January 31 and end March 3rd. Early voting on the vote tabulator machine will begin on February 15 and end March 3rd. And anyone wanting to register to vote in this election needs to do so with the Grant County Clerk's Office by February 7th. An important part of this is all declarations of candidacy must be filed in my office on January 10th from 8 to 5 at City Hall.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion? Councilor Connor? Oh, Councilor, I'm still learning these secret signals. A wink or...
I move to approve resolution number 2016-32, adopting recount recheck costs. No, don't, I got the wrong one? I do.
Yeah.
Let me delete that. I move to approve resolution number 2016-31 for the regular municipal election to be held on March 7th, 2017.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second that. I'll second that.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Ann.
Aye. Councilor Amon Smith. Aye. Councilor Wright.
Aye.
Councilor Connor. Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item is 11J, the approval/disapproval of resolution number 2016-32, adopting recount/recheck costs for the regular municipal election to be held on March the 7th, 2017. Ann?
Mayor and council, I'm requesting your approval of this resolution to adopt the recount and recheck costs. These are estimated costs listed in Appendix A of the resolution. They're based on state statute 3-8-68 for recount recheck costs, but the costs are actually based on our local costs. You know, what a sheriff charges to serve the summons for the precinct board to come back in and redo the election, things like that. So it's important, I think, this is our second time to do it, but I think it's important to have these adopted so any candidates will know what to expect. If they have a close race, they'll know what those costs are if they want to do a recount or a recheck.
Okay. Any questions for Ann? Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Ray.
I move to approve Resolution 2016-32, adopting recount recheck costs for the regular municipal election to be held on March 7th, 2017.
Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second that motion as stated.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Ann.
Councilor Connor?
Aye.
Councilor Ray?
Aye.
Councilor Amon Smith? Aye. Councilor Benson?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item is 11K, is the appointments to the Planning and Zoning Commission. The town received 2 re-applications from 2 of our current commissioners, Sherry Clements and Dorothy Susie Siedentop. The Community Development Director and the Chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend their reappointments. I would like to reappoint Sherry Clements and Dorothy Susie Siedentop if there are no objections from the council. They are so appointed, and the town of Silver City appreciates their continued service. Next, the last item of new business tonight is an appointment to the Museum Board. The town received an application from Jamie Embick to serve on the Museum Board. The Museum Director and the Museum Board President recommend Ms. Embick's appointment, and thus I would like to appoint her if there is no objection from the council. Ms. Embick is so appointed, and the town of Silver City appreciates your service. This concludes the business of the town of Silver City. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to adjourn.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.